Do you know why most men fail before they even start? You think it's about confidence or looks or even money, but the truth is far more subtle and far more dangerous. It's about timing. It's about emotional temperature. It's about whether she subconsciously trusts you enough to let you cross her boundary without slamming the door in your face. Right now, you might be imagining a script, rehearsing lines in your head, thinking, if I say this the right way, she'll say yes. That's where you're already losing. Because women don't respond to lines. They respond to energy, presence, and the quiet signals you're sending long before the words even leave your mouth. Here's the first invisible law you must understand. Intimacy is never a demand. It's an invitation. And the invitation must feel safe, exciting, and inevitable all at the same time. If your approach carries pressure, expectation, or desperation, even just a fraction, her mind screams, danger. And when that happens, your chances collapse before you even reach the words. You see, women's psychology is wired to detect risk at a level you can't consciously see. A twitch in your tone, a subtle tension in your shoulders, or even the eagerness in your gaze. It all registers subconsciously. That's why some men can say the exact same words and get completely different results with different women, because it's not the words, it's the invisible atmosphere you create around them. So, how do you avoid rejection? You start by mastering control over your own state. Your emotions, your tension, your expectations, they must all align with a single truth. Whether she says yes or no, you remain composed. You see, a man who is obsessed with the outcome is giving her the power to reject him. But a man who is calm, collected, and unapologetically present, he's inviting her into an experience she wants to join. Think of it like a dance. You don't shove your partner onto the floor. You lead with intention, with rhythm, and with clarity. She follows because she feels the flow, the certainty, and the safety in your movement. This is the first step many men ignore. They think words alone are enough, but in reality, words are secondary. The first and most powerful signal is you, your energy, your frame, your ability to make her feel safe and excited at the same time. Next, understand the subtle triggers that create desire. Not superficial ones, those fade quickly, but deep primal ones. Women respond to cues that signal competence, control, and emotional security. A calm voice in a heated moment, gentle teasing that shows you're confident without being arrogant, a light touch that tests the waters without invading personal space. These are the triggers that prepare her mind for intimacy. And here's a secret most men never learn. Consent isn't just a verbal yes, it's a layered set of signals that build gradually. Eye contact that lingers slightly too long, laughter that resonates, a touch that leaves her wondering. All of this is a green light she's giving you before she even says it. Your job is to recognize it, respect it, and respond in alignment, not rush, not push, not overthink. Finally, rejection isn't failure. Rejection is feedback. It's a map showing you where your energy is misaligned, where your timing is off, or where the invisible trust hasn't been built yet. Men who take rejection personally will forever chase disappointment. Men who see it as data, they grow, they adapt, and they move closer to intimacy effortlessly. So before you ever open your mouth, ask yourself, am I calm? Am I present? Am I reading the signals? Or am I forcing an outcome? Because one of these approaches leads to connection and the other leads to rejection. And only you can control which path you choose. Now that you understand that your state and energy dictate everything, let's talk about the triggers that actually make a woman open to intimacy. Most men think it's about compliments, jokes, or charm. But those are surface-level distractions. The real triggers operate on a deeper, almost unconscious level. They tap into her emotions, her sense of safety, and her curiosity about you. You need to create an environment where she wants to say yes without even realizing she's being led there. And that starts with subtle, almost invisible behaviors that few men even notice in themselves. First, there's the power of emotional contrast. Women respond to men who can navigate emotional shifts effortlessly. Calm one moment, playful the next, slightly distant yet intensely attentive when she's present. This push and pull creates anticipation. It isn't manipulation, it's rhythm. It's the heartbeat she unconsciously matches. When you maintain this controlled unpredictability, her brain begins to crave your presence. She starts noticing how you make her feel rather than what you're saying. That's when desire becomes internalized. It's hers, not something you're asking for. Next, physical signals must be precise. Men often misread proximity as intimacy or confuse touch with permission. Every contact must carry intent, subtlety, and timing. A hand lightly brushing hers, a guiding touch on her shoulder, a gentle hand at her lower back, all done with respect and awareness, signals confidence without threat. These small gestures prime her subconscious mind, telling her this feels safe, exciting, and inevitable. You're not forcing anything. You're simply setting a stage where yes becomes the natural outcome. Think of it as planting seeds, not pushing them to grow. Now, let's address communication. The words you choose, you must speak with clarity, not desperation. Desire expressed through desperation is rejection magnet. Desire expressed through calm confidence is invitation. Use language that acknowledges her autonomy while subtly framing intimacy as a shared experience. Phrases like, "I enjoy being close to you only if it feels right," or, "I want to explore this with you, but only if it's mutual," give her control while reinforcing your attraction. Notice how the power shifts. She feels safe, she feels respected, and yet her curiosity is piqued. This is the paradox of influence, leading without controlling. Finally, timing is everything. A single misstep, asking too early or too late, can destroy momentum. Women subconsciously measure emotional alignment, comfort, and curiosity before they allow any intimacy. If her mind isn't ready, words alone cannot override her instincts. So your focus must be on reading microsignals, lingering glances, playful smiles, gentle mirroring, and her responsiveness to subtle touch. These are the green lights she's sending. Missing them means asking too soon. Misreading them means creating tension instead of connection. The man who masters timing transforms rejection into anticipation. He doesn't just ask for intimacy, he orchestrates it naturally without pressure or force. Remember, every interaction is a story you're co-creating. Your energy, your timing, your subtle signals. They write the chapters before a single word is spoken. Women don't respond to scripts. They respond to the story you make them a part of. If she's hesitant, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of alignment. Your role is to guide, to read, and to respond, not to coerce. Master this, and intimacy becomes a shared dance, a mutual decision, and a magnetic experience she subconsciously desires. By now, you might think you're ready. You've mastered your energy, your timing, and the subtle triggers that make a woman feel safe and excited. But there's one invisible enemy that sabotages nearly every man, his own mind. Yes, the block is not her, it's you. The second you doubt yourself, overthink, or obsess about rejection, your energy shifts, and she feels it instantly. Women are wired to detect hesitation, a twitch in your jaw, a pause too long in your voice, a glance that betrays your fear. It all signals uncertainty, and uncertainty, no matter how subtle, is the fastest route to rejection. So, how do you dissolve this mental sabotage? Start by identifying the stories you tell yourself. What if she says no? What if I look desperate? What if I ruin everything? Each thought injects tension into your body and your presence. The woman in front of you doesn't care about your thoughts, but she reacts to the energy they produce. You need to replace fear with curiosity, pressure with playfulness, and obsession with acceptance. Imagine a scenario where her response doesn't define your value, because it doesn't. Your worth is internal. The more you embody that, the more irresistible you become without trying. Next, let's tackle overthinking the process. Men obsess over lines, steps, and strategies, believing that intimacy is a problem to solve. But women don't respond to problem solving. They respond to connection. Connection isn't verbal. It's emotional, physical, and energetic. You must quiet the analytical mind and amplify presence. A single confident glance, A subtle touch, a well-timed pause can communicate more than paragraphs of rehearsed words. The trick is not to manipulate her mind, but to align your state with the desire you feel, making your intentions clear while leaving space for her choice. Another mental trap is desperation disguised as confidence. Some men mistake boldness for composure, believing that pressing the issue will create desire, but desperation hides under the surface like a shadow. Women sense it. It may come as a slight tension in your tone, a quickened pace in your movements, or even an eagerness that can't be concealed. The key is to balance assertiveness with patience. Ask yourself, am I guiding this moment, or am I trying to force an outcome? The answer will be obvious in your presence. The man who guides without forcing becomes magnetic. The man who forces becomes repelling. Finally, understand the power of internal calibration. Before you ever make a move, your body, mind, and energy must all communicate one truth. I am in control of myself, not of her, and I am comfortable with the outcome either way. This internal alignment changes everything. It creates a calm certainty that draws her in, turning hesitation into intrigue, curiosity into consent, and subtle attraction into full-blown desire. When you master this, asking for intimacy is no longer a test. It's a natural continuation of the connection you've already built. You don't ask with anxiety, you invite with inevitability. Here's the final truth most men never admit. Rejection isn't the problem. Lack of alignment is. Once you clear your own psychological blocks, once you embody confidence without desperation, once you read her signals instead of forcing words, the doors to intimacy open effortlessly. You become a man she not only desires but trusts to take her there safely and willingly. And when that happens, rejection ceases to be fear. It becomes irrelevant. You are no longer chasing. You are creating, inviting, and receiving. Now that your mindset is clear, your energy aligned, and your blocks removed, it's time to focus on flow, the invisible bridge between connection and intimacy. Most men fail here because they treat intimacy like a checklist. Compliment, touch, ask. That's mechanical, lifeless, and obvious. True intimacy is organic, a rhythm you create together without force. It's the subtle rise and fall of energy, the silent agreement building between two people long before a single word of invitation. You must understand this rhythm, feel it, and guide it. The first layer of flow is emotional attunement. You already know the importance of reading signals, but now you use them to mirror her state while gently leading it forward. If she laughs, laugh deeper. If she leans in slightly, mirror that closeness with your own body. Not too fast, not too slow. Every action must feel inevitable, not rushed. This is where men often stumble. They misalign pace with presence. She may lean in, pull back, or even hesitate momentarily. That is not rejection. It's her subconscious processing trust. Your job is to maintain calm, playful, confident energy while keeping the momentum alive. Next, physical escalation must be almost imperceptible. Forget grabbing, forcing, or rushing. Start with micro-touches, a hand brushing her arm, a thumb tracing her hand, a gentle touch on her back as she shifts closer. Each touch is a question, not a command. Are you comfortable? Do you want this? Her responses are your guide. Notice how her body reacts. If she reciprocates subtly, your pace continues. If she withdraws, you pull back with composure. This is not rejection. It's alignment in motion. Men who learn this secret stop fearing no and start reading yes long before it's verbalized. Then comes verbal flow, the art of words paired with energy. Here you use language that reinforces safety, respect, and desire simultaneously. Phrases like, I love being close to you, or this feels natural only if it's right for you, communicate intention without pressure. Notice the difference between asking and inviting. Asking implies outcome. Inviting implies shared experience. The most powerful men understand this nuance. They speak from a place of calm certainty, allowing desire to emerge, not forcing it to appear. Words become the dance, not the goal. Finally, integrate anticipation. This is the invisible glue that transforms comfort into intimacy. Anticipation isn't about suspense or games. It's about moment attunement. Hold eye contact just long enough to create tension. Smile subtly. Lean in slightly, then pause. Every micro movement is a question she subconsciously answers. By the time you verbalize your desire or intention, she has already arrived there mentally, emotionally, and physically. Intimacy becomes a shared momentum, a co-created inevitability. You are no longer asking. She is already saying yes through her body and energy. Remember, the difference between rejection and consent is invisible, subtle, and psychological. It's in timing, alignment, microsignals, and internal calibration. Men who understand this never beg pressure or fear. They guide, invite, and orchestrate. Flow is not learned in books. It is felt, practiced, and mastered in real-life interactions. When you combine emotional attunement, microphysical cues, verbal alignment, and anticipation, asking for intimacy becomes effortless, natural, and magnetic. You're no longer just a man hoping for a yes. You are the presence she subconsciously chooses to be with moment after moment. Now comes the ultimate step: how to cement intimacy so that rejection becomes nearly irrelevant and desire transforms into connection. By this point, your energy is aligned, your timing precise, and your presence magnetic. But here's the truth: most men never learn. Desire without connection fades fast. Intimacy is not just a physical act, it's a profound emotional exchange. If you want her to truly open up, you must anchor her trust, her curiosity, and her attraction simultaneously. This is where most men fail. They focus on the short-term thrill and ignore the deeper psychological thread that keeps her drawn to you. First, deepen emotional resonance. Share subtle glimpses of your inner world, your thoughts, your values, your vision, without oversharing or seeking validation. Women are drawn to men who are transparent yet confident, vulnerable yet strong. The paradox is powerful. When you reveal just enough to create curiosity, she feels a magnetic pull, a desire to know more. This isn't manipulation. It's natural human chemistry. You create a space where she wants to meet you, not only physically, but emotionally. Your presence becomes a safe place where desire and connection intertwine seamlessly. Next, anchor with micro moments of attention. Small gestures, brushing hair from her face, maintaining eye contact during conversation, a hand lightly on her lower back, signal that your focus is fully on her. Every movement, every word, every glance communicates. You are the only thing that matters in this moment. Women subconsciously track these details. The more consistently you align your attention, energy, and subtle actions, the stronger the invisible thread pulling her toward intimacy. You are no longer asking. You are co-creating a momentum she actively participates in. Then reinforce her autonomy. Ironically, the men who succeed most are the ones who never act like they need her. Yes? By showing that you value her choice, that you respect her boundaries, you paradoxically increase desire. Autonomy is sexy. Women don't want to feel pressured. They want to feel invited, intrigued, and safe. This is the delicate balance. Assert your presence, guide the flow, but always leave space for her to decide. Her yes becomes a reflection of alignment, not coercion. This is why rejection isn't a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of the alignment you've created or failed to create. Finally, escalate naturally and intentionally. Let physical and emotional cues merge seamlessly. A shared laugh, a lingering gaze, a gentle touch on the arm or shoulder. They are all signals she's already internalized. Your words become a natural extension of the energy, not a desperate plea. By the time you verbalize your intention, she has subconsciously agreed. This is the essence of mastery, orchestrating intimacy so that it feels like a mutual, inevitable crescendo. You don't ask nervously, you invite confidently, knowing that every micro detail has been laid carefully, thoughtfully, and intentionally. Here's the final truth: the man who masters this isn't relying on lines, tricks, or pressure. He relies on himself, his energy, his emotional alignment, his awareness, and his timing. He understands the invisible signals women send and responds appropriately. He reads hesitation as information, curiosity as invitation, and alignment as confirmation. Intimacy becomes not a risk, not a gamble, but a shared momentum that both participants want. Now, I want you to do something for me. Take a moment and calculate this for yourself. If every time you approach with calm confidence, you succeed 7 out of 10 times, and every time you approach with desperation, you succeed 1 out of 10 times, what is your overall chance of success if you approach 10 times each way? Comment your answer below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to hear these truths.